Hi, everyone, and welcome to Shed the Debt. I'm Pattie Lovett-Reid. Today, we're going to talk about women climbing the corporate ladder. Entrepreneurship is growing. When you look at educational levels of women, they are soaring. And I'm joined by Marlene Oilgisser. Welcome, and thank you.
Hi, Pattie. Thank you.
Let's talk about women today. And I know that you were a chartered accountant.
I am.
You are a chartered accountant, but you were early days,
Yeah.
there were not a lot of women in this profession.
Not in the profession. No, that's correct. That's exactly right. When I started with a national firm, and I was, I guess, the second woman on staff there at the time.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really quite amazing.
You know, when I think about it, I was a financial commentator when there weren't a lot of women that were doing it. And did you feel like a trailblazer?
I did. I'll go back one step before I got my CA. There was 120 business students, so I'm a business graduate as well. And 120 students in my particular grade, and there was only 3 women, I think, at the time, out of 120. I believe one of them ended up becoming a teacher. Another one also went into the CA profession. I'm not sure if she's still practicing. It was myself.
Isn't that interesting? So we've come a long way, but we haven't come far enough.
I concur.
You concur. You've seen what we've
But
done.
I have to be honest with you. I still attend sessions where I hear young women saying, you know, I'm still not getting the same pay as my counterpart who happens to be a male. So as much as we like to think that things have come a long way, and we've just came out of International Women's Day over the last couple of days, there's still a lot of people out there, women, that are suffering and not finding they're getting the same equity that they should be.
Frustrating as that is, corporations, you have been a chief operating officer, you've been a CEO, you've had a number of senior leadership positions. The reason I brought up the chief operating officer is that I sometimes think there are signs that you may see at that level that a business needs something.
Sure.
And then it goes to the CEO. Sure. So narrowing in on a chief operating officer role, what signs are there?
A lot of times when I'm looking for my current role is COO. I've been a president of other companies, but this current role that I'm in right now is COO. And it's sort of very similar to what a president goes through. For me, at that level, it gets very much into the people, the teams, how people are working with each other, how they support each other, the camaraderie, the empathy in the organization.
Interesting.
That's the kind of things I like to look for, because at that point, you like to think there are people in their positions that can do the technical stuff. It's the stuff that isn't so technical that you want to make sure that's what's bringing the company forward.
That's a really interesting comment. In a period of time where there's such economic turmoil and people fearful,
Sure.
you talk about empathy.
Yes.
So empathy means what?
It means, to be honest with you, it means a company with a heart. For me, that's what it is. It's as simple as that you're looking out for your staff. You're looking for signs of fear. You're looking for signs of stress, whatever it may be. I mean, we can't solve everybody's problems, that's for sure.
Right.
But at least you kind of want to make their day at the office feel comfortable, that they can get their job done. And if something's going wrong at the office, they feel comfortable enough to come talk to whoever it may be, their boss, their HR person, somebody like me even. My doors are always open.
Right.
And it's just walking around and just saying hi, good morning to people. How are you doing? Looking for those signs of the stress that, you just want to make sure that they're okay.
So you may be involved in the restructuring business as a business.
Yes.
But so could your employees be in a difficult situation.
Sure.
And how do you find breaking down the barriers and talking to people on a personal level? And I'm not talking about your staff, but it could be anyone. That if you're in trouble, it's nothing wrong. The savvy person asks for help.
Absolutely. I know we don't want to just talk about employees, but one of the things I found, there's a lot of things I've seen over my career where people are in trouble, i.e. financial trouble. They're going through a divorce. They're having problems with their children. There's just so many things out there. And a lot of companies have what they call EAPs. It's an employee assistance program,
right?
Generally offered through their benefits. And a lot of times I can't get into their personal lives, and I don't want to get into their personal life.
Right.
It's good to have programs like that companies can offer that will assist employees. It's all very confidential, I have to tell you, as much as you think that we're paying for it as a company. The staff are allowed to call. It's a private number. Generally, you're talking with a professional on the other end. We have no reporting back as to what's going on. And it's to help the staff with whatever their problems are. So I would try to promote people, especially when it's something outside of a company, where I'd like them to go get professional advice.
And so on the other side of it, when you are dealing with businesses that are going through this, I would assume that there's a certain element of comfort in talking to someone who's run a business.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
So what would you say to someone right now?
Well, I guess I'd like to delve into a little bit about what's going on. Is it a financial problem? Is it a staff issue? I'd like to try to figure out what it is that's causing their problem, and then talk to them about, offer some suggestions as to things they can look at. If they're running maybe 3 shifts a day, maybe talk to them about cutting back one of their shifts. If they're using a lot of full-time and part-time, maybe look at cutting back, unfortunately, the part-timers and just focusing more on the full-timers, like rearranging their cost structure. Take a look at all the expenses, see what's happening, see if there's things you can address with them to see if they can kind of cut things down. Most important, I think, is to make sure they have a budget and that their budgets are up to date and that they're really following the budgets within the company.
Wow. Okay. So one of the things that you shared with me when we started working together, and I'm going to be really honest here in the interest of disclosure, one of the reasons I joined Goldhar as a special advisor was because of this lady. And we chatted before I made that decision. Let's not tell Richard that, but you know what I mean. He's okay too. Yeah, he's good. But one of the things you shared with me is that when people run into financial difficulty, it can be through no fault of their own.
Absolutely.
And when I see what I call an intake form where someone says, I'm going to call you, I'm going to share my situation. I don't know if you can help me or not. The stories are quite extraordinary.
They're heartbreaking.
They're heartbreaking.
They
They're
are.
extraordinary.
Yeah. Especially in the industry that I'm in right now,
Yeah.
which, as you realize, is people that are definitely in financial trouble when they're coming to this company for help. And as you know, because we've shared some of the information on a very confidential basis,
Of course.
it's everything from people having to help a sick parent to even a sick child. People lost their job that they didn't expect to happen, and all of a sudden they can't make their payments. There's just so many heartbreaking stories out there. They can't even afford sometimes to get their car fixed when they should be getting it fixed. So there's just a lot of really awful stories out there, and it's really hard other than talking to them one-on-one and trying to counsel them as best you can.
Right.
But a lot of times it's very, very tricky. But if we can help them in any way to reduce their debt load, which is one of the jobs we try to look at, it's not just kind of telling them there's not much we can do. We do work with them to the extent we can to get them to reduce their debt levels.
But Marlene, do they respond when I say that one of your roles is that of an educator as well?
Correct.
You educate people on budgeting. Some people, I know, budgets get a bad rap. People don't like it.
No.
But I got to tell you, they work, and it's a place to start.
Absolutely.
But what happens when people won't help themselves? Maybe they reach out, they think you're going to solve their problems, but there is an educational component.
Oh, absolutely. People do have to listen to what we're suggesting to them, have to work with us when we're suggesting to them. Let's sit down. Let's look at how much money are you getting every month and where's the money going?
Right.
And a lot of people, yourself, I know I've seen you do this. You talk about setting up different jars.
Yeah, I have talked about that.
Absolutely.
Envelopes.
It sounds so like maybe sounds childish to some people, but it's a reality check, especially when you have a hard time managing your money. And our role here is really about managing your money to make sure that whatever you're bringing in and whatever's going out, that there is hopefully some money left over. But as a minimum, you have to be able to meet your expenses. And for that, you have to plan your money. Like people are going to Tim Hortons every day of the week, and yet they can't make their rent payments. We have to challenge that a little bit, as harsh as that may sound. That's the kind of thing we have to get down to, the real basics.
So what's a success ratio like when someone has been in a very difficult situation, feeling very hopeless? And I think what you do offer here is hope.
Hope, absolutely.
Hope, which is important.
Yeah.
What's your success ratio like?
It depends. It's such a hard thing to give that because there's so many stories out there. And hope is interesting. I mean, we definitely want to provide some comfort, but it really is about honesty. People coming in, really opening up to us exactly what's going on in their life and us working with them. To the extent that they are open and then there is some income coming in, that's a start. We have to have some income.
You have to have, you have to start somewhere.
You have to start somewhere.
Right.
And then we have to take a look at that income and then take a look at where they're spending their money. And to the extent we can work with them, we will do that, absolutely. Counsel them. We give them credit counseling opportunities. We give them a lot of ideas about how they can control their expenses. And hopefully it'll be a win.
And, before I let you go, so often when debt levels seem to rise, people will say, oh, you're keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
But it isn't just keeping up Millie Jones's notice. And I think the savvy person reaches out. They ask to talk to somebody.
Listen, in today's world, I mean, we're all in a lot of stress right now. Everybody, I don't care what your income level is today, with the way things are going on right now between Canada and the U.S. and the tariffs, which is on the top of everybody's mind.
Absolutely.
You know, there's a concern about job loss right now. There's a concern about the cost of goods, just groceries, and all the things that are going to happen in the next little while. So really, everybody's got to have a little bit of heightened anxiety right now. And it is about talking to people as best you can. I mean, we're all in the same boat. I don't care what, how many salary, how big your salary is.
Actually, it really doesn't matter, because it really comes down to how much you're spending, not how much you're earning.
Exactly. So anyway, nice to have that conversation today.
Thank you, Marlene. I've been joined by Marlene Oilgisser. She is with Goldhar Associates, but has quite an extensive background from Chief Operating Officer to CEO to Chartered Accountant. Thanks for watching.